Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Move the Stairs Friday conversation, where each and every Friday we share with you brand protection PR strategies for your CBD business to tackle some of the biggest public relations challenges. And today we're excited to chat with you, whether you're joining us on Facebook or on YouTube or on LinkedIn, or maybe you're joining us after the broadcast on our podcast. We are so glad you're here.
And you know, Jordan, today we're keeping with our March theme of putting some spring into your PR plans by feeding them with unique content. And as always, we're talking to CBD business owners. And by the end of this broadcast, you'll be able to educate your customers on the future of blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and CBD. So this is going to be a great, really informative podcast. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, especially those have been some very key buzzwords, I think, recently too,
Yes.
Diane. And we're going to start the conversation, at least for the first 10 minutes here, by teaching you what is blockchain and new CBD cryptocurrencies. And then we'll move on to some strategies for how you can educate your customers on how this new financial technology works. And then finally, we'll deep dive into the future of cryptocurrency. It kind of seems like everything is headed that direction, Diane.
Absolutely. When you're talking about CBD, it's very interesting because of all the banking regulations and all of that. So I'm really excited about this. And if you're joining us live, please jump into the conversation and answer this question. How much do you know about blockchain? And if you're joining us later, post your questions or comments and we'll answer them in next week's chat.
Also, we have our free downloadable one sheet with every episode. And this week, we're going to provide you the template to supercharge your thought leadership, which is going to help you take on this new information and then turn it around and educate your customers and your employees. So make sure to grab that on our website. Just visit movethestairs.com. All right, Dan, let's get started. What is blockchain?
Right. That's right. Let's go after that first question. Jordan, what is blockchain?
Well, we are thrilled to be working with Greenheart CBD in Ireland, and joining us on the live stream today is the forefront of CBD cryptocurrencies, Paul Walsh, who is the founder of Greenheart CBD in Ireland. Paul, we hope you had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day.
I did indeed, guys. Thanks so much for having us, Jordan, Diane. It's a pleasure to be here.
Have you recovered from St. Patrick's Day, Paul? That's what I want to know.
yeah. And would you believe we're still in lockdown, so all the pubs were closed. It was a very strange Paddy's Day. So every family was at home celebrating this Paddy's Day. So a quiet one, as they say.
Well, I raised a pint of Guinness too. I can tell you that for sure. My family is over there in Killatarley in County Mayo, and we were back and forth on Facebook, and it was fun. So anyway, you launched a CBD punt, which is a cryptocurrency based on blockchain. And this is how, in my small mind, I understand blockchain. So if you think of a transaction, let's say someone buys a bottle of Greenheart CBD oil. Now I want you to visualize this. In the old days, and I get to say that because I'm old, all of the steps and dollars in the transaction would have been written on a ledger sheet. So, on a sheet of paper, and say the transaction was between the hemp farmer and the producer. Then the next part of the transaction, maybe it was between the producer and the distributor. And that would be written on another ledger sheet. So you've got two ledger sheets, right? Now rename those ledger sheets and think of them, call them blocks, as in blocks of information. Each sheet at the bottom has a code. The code is called a hash from the first page. And then that code is written on the top of the second page so that you know that it's almost like page 2. But that's how you know that that next page comes, and that creates the chain. So you have blocks of information that are now chained together, and it becomes a blockchain. And if someone who isn't authorized to make an entry on the blockchain, on the ledger sheet or the block, gets on there, the code automatically changes, and it changes on every sheet going all the way back in that ledger book. That way people know something went wrong here. And that's why this new financial technology is safer, because anyone involved in the blockchain who's involved in putting together all those ledger sheets can see the changes in the code. So Paul, was I close on how to explain it?
Oh, that was brilliant, Diane. That was absolutely brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And just to expand on that, then we went further. So Air token is an ERC20 token, which works on smart contracts. And smart contracts are basically programmable contracts on the blockchain that you can do multiple things with. Now, Air punt token is an ERC20 token. And what that token is going to enable our customers to do is to receive the best benefits through our company. We're currently building a mobile application at the moment, which will have the wallet built in where our customers can store their punt. It'll also be interactive with our store and our partner stores so they can use the punt to purchase. And we'll also have a number of bonuses and mechanisms in there so they can earn off the punt itself. What this really does for us, though, when we first started our journey, Diane, as you know, payment processors were an issue. It's a high-risk payment processor you have to use, and the fees are very high. But using the blockchain, we were able to reduce these transaction fees and enable our customers a complete contact with our brand. So it's really worked for us, Diane, going forward. You did a great example on how the blockchain works, and we see big things in the future with going the cryptocurrency way.
Now, Paul, like this buzzword cryptocurrency has been Bitcoin for a number of years now. So is your punt currency similar to Bitcoin? How would you explain that for people tuning into the podcast today?
Okay, so no, we are based on the Ethereum blockchain. So we are based basically as an ERC20 token. So we run on the Ethereum network. It's a fork of using Ethereum. So it's basically using their network as a blockchain. We're forked off using an ERC20 token. This is basically what we're using, Jordan.
So that's good to know the difference, because people buy and sell and trade Bitcoin, but this is not the same process. The only thing they have in common is that they're both digital technologies.
Yeah, correct. Do you know what I mean? They're both tokens, as they say. Bitcoin is a coin in itself. We are a token. So that's what I was saying, an ERC20 token. It's very interesting. You can see that a lot of companies have adapted and forked out. So like, for instance, Polkadot is a new cryptocurrency that launched over the last number of months, and it works very similar to the Ethereum blockchain and has gas fees and so on. It's a network in itself. So what you'll start to see is projects like the Punt and other projects coming out on the Polkadot blockchain. So blockchain is coming very adept. It's being used mainstream now, Jordan. So this is where big companies are coming in to use it as payment transactions and so on. I'm sure you've seen all the hype with Dogecoin that happened with Elon Musk. That's really driven the market in. So that's basically what we're using, Jordan.
You know, yesterday I heard on CNBC that the Angels are selling one of their suites at their stadium for Bitcoin. They just want one Bitcoin to pay for and then they're hoping, it's so volatile. The market is very volatile. And so, they're really betting on the future here. And I think that that's fascinating. And I think that when you're talking about CBD, and you're trying to educate your customers on what's coming, understanding more about this future and trying to wrap your head around it. And I have to tell you, I was on YouTube last night. I'm watching all this stuff. And then I thought, I need to sleep on this so that my brain can kind of put it together so I can come up with a way to explain this the way I understand it. So for a lot of people, they're like, oh, this is just going right over my head. It doesn't have to go over your head. And the reality is, just like we now use Zoom and we're working virtually and all the things that have changed, it's really important for you to be in front of this and to learn about it as it's coming along. Would you agree, especially in the CBD industry?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think it's been adopted so far. And as you talked about the ledger, Diane, and the recording, like that's a big part of us, is recording data. Like we record data in every stage of our process, from our farms with our AI drones to our production facilities to now the blockchain itself with our mobile application. So the ledger really allows us to do that. Like every transaction is recorded on our Ethereum ledger, and we can then kind of have that data to see what our customers are interacting with the cryptocurrency. We have the full transparency between the chain. So that's where it becomes really, really powerful. It's connecting full chains together, the cryptocurrency. So when companies adopt into a cryptocurrency, it's really connecting every part, is what I see.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what's going to happen more and more. So it's really important for you to understand it now, like I am. I'm just learning about it. So take it in bite-sized pieces, because if you can get one section of it, then give yourself a little break and then learn the next section of it, because the people that are doing it are brilliant, like Paul, and they're such futurists. And because of all the issues with the financial issues with CBD, it's really important that you learn this, because it's not just going to be for CBD, it's going to be for many, many other companies as well. So probably in 5 years, everybody will completely understand what it is, but it's one of those new concepts that is really interesting. And if you can teach other people what you know, even if it's this much, then you increase your thought leadership, and that increases your brand protection PR. So that's really important. Okay, so I want you out there watching us and listening to us. If you have questions about blockchain or cryptocurrencies, throw them in the chat box. And if you're listening to us later, send us your questions, because we'll be happy to get them answered for you, because probably we'll have to ask Paul, but that's okay. So, all right, Jordan.
Yeah, we also have our free downloadable one sheet. Diane, you mentioned thought leadership and how important that is going to be in this process of educating your consumers. And if you're struggling with figuring out how you can get started on that, just go to movethestairs.com, click on our latest blog, and you can download that, how to supercharge your thought leadership worksheet, absolutely free.
And by the way, if you're wondering what Move the Stairs means and how it refers to brand protection, Move the Stairs basically means you take what life gives you, and right now it's giving us blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and you make the absolute most out of it. You don't think if only this, or if it was this way instead. No, you look at what life gives you, and you look for the very great opportunities that are there. And if you really focus in on whatever the problem is, or the new challenges, you will find those opportunities, and they will lead to doors opening. And when you do that, that means that you're going to be ahead of your competition. You're going to show your thought leadership, and that expertise really helps your brand protection PR.
So let's dive right into topic number 2, how you can use this information to educate your customers. At M&C Communications, we're always looking for ways for our clients to increase their thought leadership. And when you're educating customers when it comes to CBD, I think it's a brilliant strategy, especially with how strict many platforms are when it comes to talking about CBD. It's a great strategy to reach your customers. Wouldn't you agree, Diane?
Absolutely. So, Paul, I am sure the safety of cryptocurrency is one of the main reasons you decided to be a leader in this space. But is it also like a differentiator for Greenheart CBD?
Yeah, well, definitely. Our whole process sets us apart from the competition. Do you know what I mean? So when it comes to CBD companies, we're not really a CBD company. We're a CBD tech company. So we're bringing big data, analyticals, artificial intelligence all into the process. And what we're trying to do at the moment, Diane, is pool all that technology together, so we can actually provide a plug-and-play systems for farmers and producers and communities out there to actually get into the hemp space. See, what we have, like you said, data is very important for the customer to decide on what they're buying and where it came from. So, for instance, we're a mobile application that's launching. We have a QR code scanner, and on our products, that QR code that you scan relays all the information back to the customer. That's from the farmer's information to the patch of land the crops were growing on, to the travel information on how far it's traveled and the processes it's gone through. So as a customer, you can really see the quality and the transparency and knowing where your product came from. And I think this is where the future is going a lot. And this is where blockchain can enable us to use this technology into these different ecosystems like the hemp industry, agriculture, a number of different spaces. As you can see, the technology is expanded.
I think that's brilliant because, you know, we have studied at length how important transparency is, especially to, you know, Gen Z and millennials. So I think that's really great stuff, Paul, and which kind of leads me to my next question. You know, how are you explaining this technology to your customers? And do you think that this positions Greenheart CBD as a company kind of on the cutting edge of, you know, the future when it comes to the CBD industry?
Yeah, well, I believe so. Some of the stuff that we have in the pipeline, Jordan, will blow your mind. So the technology is
This is
adapting.
already blowing my mind. So
Okay, well, there's a lot more in the pipeline to come. We have a huge team that's working globally now. So we're starting to expand into the likes of New Jersey in America, Australia, just outside Queensland. And we're becoming a global presence now. And I think that is down to the technology we're bringing into the space. A lot of farmers are coming into the hemp industry now, but where's the kill tools for them? Like when they go into agriculture, they have the tractors, the machinery, everything, but they need that extra vump now going into a new space. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's such a high demand on consumers. Consumers are looking for a high quality product, and it's so differentiated. There's so many different products on the market, so many different companies. Some of them aren't seed to shelf. Some of them are just middlemen that are creating a brand, mixing it down and sending it on. So it's very hard to determine what quality you're getting and how good it is. So I think this technology needs to go into the space so consumers have that transparency and they can decide on the products that they want to buy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And, you know, products that come from Ireland. I mean, we think of Kerrygold, and that phenomenal butter. I mean, you just have such wonderful soils there. You have a wonderful work ethic. You have wonderful pubs. Okay, but I digress. Anyway, but really, you're really looking to be the Kerrygold of CBD, isn't that right?
That's correct. Yeah, no, you've got it bang on, Diane. Like if you think of our Irish farmers, we grow a fantastic crop here. And when I was doing market research, traveling around farms in Ireland, asking farmers what their issues were, when the farmers that were growing hemp were growing fabulous crops. Do you know what I mean? It was literally the infrastructure they needed, the sales channels they needed built out. And they could see that being developed in the likes of Canada and America. And even over in Holland, in Europe, it's been developed out for a number of years. So it's really that farmers are willing to take that risk now, but how do they take that risk? That is the question. Where is the systems for them in play? Is there any funding or grants there available for them off the government to go into this type of space? There's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked out, and we hope to be a leader within that space where we can bring in the likes of this technology that can work with governments and show true transparency across the space.
That's why we are so excited about working with you, because you already are a leader. I mean, when we talk about thought leadership, you are the definition of that, and that's so cool. So out there, if you're listening or watching, what do you think? Tell us how you would educate your customers on cryptocurrency and the future of CBD.
And I also wanted to take a moment here to look ahead to next week, as well as we continue our conversation here in the month of March in putting some spring in your PR plan step. And we're going to show you and teach you how to harvest everything that you have learned so far during the first quarter of 2021. It's hard to believe the end of Q1 is 2 weeks away. But this is so you can measure your success and make any appropriate changes you need to heading into Q2 and for the rest of 2021. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to post them, or you can drop us an email and we'll get to them next week.
So let's go to topic number 3, and that is, what's the future of cryptocurrencies and CBD? I know one of the keys to the CBD brand protection is really looking to the future and preparing your company for that. So Paul, tell us what you think. Where is this all going?
Yeah, well, I think the whole financial markets are changing. If you want to check out cryptocurrency, there's a thing called NFTs now, non-fundable tokens. That's the new hot word, buzzword. And this is where you can even tokenize your left arm, guys. I've seen articles out this week that tennis players are tokenizing their left arm. So this is where everything worldwide is being tokenized. It's not just CBD. So I see everything changing very, very fast over the next 10 years. If you look at the 5G networks, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, we're developing very fast as the human race. So I don't think that's going to change whatever space we're in, and we want to be leading that. So we believe we can kind of see around the curve a little bit. So if we can just get that all developed and onto the market, we should have a great systems for farmers and agricultural communities to adopt to worldwide.
I think it's so funny. I don't know if you have Chuck E. Cheese over there in Ireland or not. Do you? Do you have Chuck E. Cheese?
No, we don't. Okay. No.
Chuck E. Cheese is this place you take your kids and you play all kinds of games, and there are these crazy things dancing, and you eat pizza, and the kids love it, and parents, I won't say they hate it, but personally I was like, oh gosh, so often it's very loud and the kids are
My
running
mom was
crazy,
not a fan.
right?
Put it that way.
Oh, no, but when you're at Chuck E. Cheese, you get tokens, and you use the tokens. So you go and you give your money, you get the tokens back, and that's what you give the kids, and that's what they play all the games with. So when you're saying tokens, that's what's in my head. I think that's what's in so many people's heads out there when they hear tokens. Is that the right way to think of it? What do you think?
That is correct. So, like, for instance, we have the punt token now, where you can go and you can buy the token itself and keep it in a wallet, which would be our mobile application. Now, that token will do a number of things. Like you said, when you give it out to the kids, they can play a number of games.
Right.
So what our token does is allows our customers to like the biggest discounts. By using the token, you receive token back, so you receive another discount. By having the token in your wallet, you receive interest, like a staking program. We're even working into other economic developments to help farmers in the future. So it's growing very fast. So the token also, Diane, gives you access to our partners' products. So some of the partners that we're working with is the World CBD Awards. So they've allowed their ticket sales to be accepted in punt. So it's very, very cool that you can adapt it into so many different things, and it becomes like an extra arm in marketing almost, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
That was going to be my next question, Paul, is so you incentivize your consumers to use the punt token. You've reached out to some of your partners. How quickly do you see this kind of overtaking, the CBD space, where everyone says this has to be our financial move, so that we can get everybody in here and make sure everybody's got an equal chance to get this without having to necessarily deal with some of the high fees you may have to work through with some of the banks and things like that?
Correct. I say 12. Give us 12 months, Jordan. You'll see a huge change in Greenheart anyway. We'll definitely be a global player, and there's a lot of big announcements to come out and a lot of new technology. So I'm very excited for this summer, because we have the new drone program launching that I hope to get back on the show next time and talk about.
Yes, we're going to do a whole other show on your drones, absolutely, which is fascinating. I love that.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I say give it 12 months, Jordan.
I love
That's exciting.
It is. It's so exciting. I'm excited that I always love to learn new things, number one. And number two, to be able to sit here and talk with you and say, is it like this? Can I relate it to something that I already understand is really important. And that's, I think, one of the ways that you can really raise that thought leadership and talk to your customers is start with something that they already get, whether it's the Chuck E. Cheese tokens or the ledger paper, right? Start with where they're at and then move them to whatever the education is that you're trying to give them in a way that's very clear and concise. Do you agree, Paul?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, it's all to do with education, guys. Do you know what I mean? This is new to many people across the world now. I think 1% of the population has adopted cryptocurrency, so we have a long way to go. So it is about just taking it step by step. The advice I can give is look through the coins that are out there. I think there's over 2,000 coins now, and you're bound to find projects that's close to your heart. That's an idea that you would go, that would work in the world. I can see that in the future working. And that's something then you can be passionate about and get behind. And do you know what I mean? That's what this is all about. Do you know what I mean? This is a new financial system. It's tokenizing everything worldwide.
Right.
And it's really finding your niche of what you want to get involved in and the way you want to see the world going. That's the way I see it. And like for us as Greenhearts, I want to see true transparency across the chain. So,
I think one thing that the CBD industry as a whole has going for them as a benefit, when talking about this type of technology to their consumers, is there's still a lot of questions about what is CBD in general, that CBD business owners and the industry does such a great job at providing education and answering for, folks who just aren't quite sure yet. So I think the world, so to speak, is in great hands when it comes to the education portion of this and how it's going to work for people who are shopping for CBD, right down to the farmers who are producing the crop.
Yeah. Definitely, guys. Definitely. Do you know what I mean? There's a huge benefit there when it comes from the chain, whether it's the farmers themselves, whether it's through the production, or whether it's even the customer. There's definitely benefits, but it's about adoption. Do you know what I mean? It's about building a community, and it's about all being seeing the same vision.
Absolutely. And I think it was brilliant that Greenheart is a CBD technology company, because we know that when you start working at technology and you start looking at the future, from a financial standpoint, more people are interested in your company and your valuation goes up exponentially over just a CBD company who's producing CBD.
Correct. Yeah, well, that would definitely be the case. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments how you'll use this brand protection strategy. How are you going to reach out and just start to get your customers interested in learning about this? And remember, you don't have to be an expert like Paul, who has been doing this for years and was at the forefront of all of this great technology. You just have to understand it enough to be able to get other people to be more comfortable with it so that they can educate themselves, but they'll remember who was it that really taught them about this in the beginning, and that builds your brand protection PR.
So just to briefly recap, Paul was kind enough to explain what blockchain was and how that is, working to keep people informed and move the transparency even higher, so people know where everything goes from seed to plant to product, which is fantastic. He also gave us some advice on how you can use that information to educate your customers. Then finally, we wrapped up the conversation with the future of cryptocurrencies and CBD. And you heard it from Paul, 12 months, we're going to see some big changes in the financial industry for CBD. I am really excited for that.
Paul, we are so glad that you came to join us. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that we should have asked you about this, or anything you want to leave us with?
No, not at all, guys. Look, it was great having me on. Do you know what I mean? I look forward to our next call. There's a lot I want to speak about on the drones program that we're doing. I think that is revolutionary technology when it comes to agriculture. So, no, it's great having me on. Much appreciated. It's great to get the word out there. And anybody that has any questions, you can check our website out at www.greenheartcbd.ie, or we're on our social medias on Instagram, Twitter, and so on.
I think that would be great. Thank you so much. And I love the tease about the drone podcast, because that will be coming up very soon, because I'm really excited about that. So thank you so much for joining us this week on the Move the Stairs podcast. We're here to help you protect your CBD business with brand protection PR. Let us know how we can help you. Drop us a line, send us a message. There's 10,000 ways to contact us, and join us again next week. And we are looking forward to the weekend. Have a great one.